Some viewers may find the following video disturbing. Viewer discretion is advised.
Hey, Spence, let's trip out.
I'm afraid not every human is as smurfy as they should be, Sassy.
Listen to them. Children of the night. What music they make.
Yeah, certainly. Here we are.
This pizza pie won't pass. Too many calories. Oh, the rest is okay. Natural life! Get it off me! Get it off me!
I don't know the meaning of the word Jack.
Documented Geek Day.
Scientific research has harnessed the power of the distant sun to bring you Solar Cat.
It changes colors in the sun.
Inside it's this, outside it's that. It changes colors and it changes back. Nickelodeon, Solar Cat.
Space explorers are stunned.
It changes colors in the sun. Inside it's this, outside it's that. The Gak of tomorrow, today. Nickelodeon, Solar Cat.
Nickelodeon Solar Cat comes in 3 colors, each sold separately from Mattel.
Let's have breakfast at the Dinosaur Diner.
Nothing is finer than breakfast at the Dinosaur Diner. Dinosaurs, tiny dinosaurs like you never saw before. Fruity dinosaurs.
Dinosaurs are a big part of this nutritious breakfast.
4 more balls.
Coming up!
Nothing is finer than breakfast at the Dinosaur Diner. Dinosaurs.
No dinosaur cereal.
All right. We are back here in the Geek Den. Tom from Rise from Your Grave joining us here this evening. Pleasure to have you, sir.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Thank you, man. Thank you for joining us, like I said. We were talking about crowd surfing just a second ago before we started recording, because back in September, I fucked my shoulder up. But crowd surfing story, and it kind of relates to what I want to kick off our conversation with Rise from Your Grave. But in 2005, November, like right before Halloween, me and my best friends, we all went and saw the Misfits at our local venue, the Crowbar in State College, Pennsylvania. First time we had ever seen the Misfits, and obviously it wasn't like classic Misfits. It was Jerry, Dez, and Robo. Solid lineup for the Misfits, I think. Like, it was a fun lineup. But they are playing, I can't remember what song they were playing, but they stopped playing. Like, it just ceased. And my best friend is literally on the stage. He was ready to go, like, when they were playing that song, but didn't know the end of it. And Jerry's like, okay, going into the next song, whatever it was. And my best friend's just like, come on, start it already. And slaps Jerry only on the ass and dives out.
I mean, if you're going to go, that's the way to go, man.
Exactly. I mean, Jerry's right fucking there.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah.
Get the old attaboy and get at it.
Slapped him on the ass mid-riff,
Oh, shit.
And so, and I believe it was actually the song I'm about to talk to you about. You guys did a cover of Devil Lock.
We did.
That I found quite impressive.
Thank you. Yeah. Yeah, when we
actually that's probably my favorite Misfits song. So go ahead.
It was one of mine, and that's when so we're part of Horror Shock Records, who put the comp out, and Chad's the label manager, and he had a couple of bands already picked when he brought the idea to us to do a track. And so he basically told me, he's like, oh, basically get free reign of whatever song you want. And I knew I wasn't going to do like Die 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 My Darling and stuff like that. Like a lot of the ones, a lot of the bigger ones. I wanted to do something that like I knew was more of a, you know, a hidden gem on the album or whatever.
Absolutely.
And it was between that and Green Hell, and I was like, we got to go Devil Lock. Because it's just it's such a simple song that you can just kind of do whatever and just go for it. And a lot of the stuff that we write outside of that comp is so much more melodic and stuff like that. So I really wanted to pick something that was like way different than what we normally do, just to try it and see what it was going to sound like. And I was super happy with it. We had a lot of fun, like making all the weird laughing and screaming and all that shit. Like we probably spent an hour down here in my little basement studio, just like cackling and doing dumb shit to put in the background.
Just having fun with it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it was cool. We had a lot of fun with that. And it came together pretty quick.
Oh yeah, it's very, very solid. It was a very solid cover in my opinion. Like,
thank you.
And you guys' cover of it, and the Agony Scene did a version that I found just
cool,
mind blowing.
Nice.
But you guys, it's definitely worth to check out. But you guys like kept it true to the original while still making it grow.
Yeah,
and that's what I appreciate about really good cover.
Mm-hmm.
You guys aren't a cover band, so that's just proving that you're like, hey, we can do this too.
Right.
You know. Right. But I compare that to the song. Sorry, the title is escaping my brain. It's the first song that shows up on Spotify. And
within the last couple of days from the new album?
Yeah.
That's Ghosts in the Graveyard.
Thank you. Thank you. That's the song.
That was the 7th? Did y'all release that on the 7th? Is that the...
Yes. Yeah, that was that came out on June 7th. Yeah,
okay.
That's Tales of Terror.
The album itself, right?
Mm-hmm.
But one more time, the title?
Tales of Terror.
Tales of Terror. Okay.
Yep.
I think that's what I was listening. So Ghost in the Graveyard, I think you guys have a words, a lyric version on YouTube right now.
Yes. Yeah.
I was actually just watching that before I came up here, and that's the reason why I said, hold on, I'll be right there. I was finishing that out. Yeah, it's a good song.
Thank you.
It's a great song.
That one was a weird one. It originally started out because there's two versions on the album. There's the sort of semi-acoustic version at the end, and the faster version at the beginning. And we ended up, the original version was the acoustic version at the end. Like that's how I had originally written it. And for the Shockwaves Volume 2 or Volume 1 compilation from Horror Shock, Chad had approached us to do a track for that. And I didn't have anything like prepped. I didn't have a song ready to go. So I was like, oh, well, we'll just kind of like, this is a solid track that I'm working on right now. Let's just kind of do like a full band, full speed cover of this song. And that'll be a cool like little thing for the compilation or whatever. And people love that track. And it was one that surprised me a lot because normally when I go into writing stuff, it'll be like, this is the one that like I kind of feel like has the whether it's the catchiest song or the fastest song or whatever it is, like there's something about it when I write it where I'm like, if somebody appreciates this thing about it, like that's the song that they're going to want to listen to. And because it was sort of just like, oh yeah, we'll do this real quick for the compilation and we'll put it out and everything will be fine. And we'll have a song up there and whatever. And because we kind of put it together so quickly and people really, really reacted to it, it was wild for me because it was for me, it was out of nowhere. It was just like, oh shit. Okay. Right. People really like
something you pulled out of your left pocket.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It was certainly less crafted than the others, I think is the best way to put it.
I was going to say the vocal layering sounded really good.
Thank you. Yeah.
It was less crafted. I mean, it definitely, it's produced very well.
Thank you.
It's a good sounding song. It's definitely deep where it's supposed to be deep. It's definitely in tone where it's supposed to be in tone. I mean,
yeah, we did a lot with because Jason Payne from Boogeyman is also on that track, and I've known those guys for a while, and one of their guitar players is actually a friend of mine for, I don't know, 30 years. We've known each other a really, really long time. And so he introduced me to all those guys. And ever since I started talking to those dudes, I'm like, we gotta do something together. Like, you guys are writing killer music. Like, I would love to have you guys on a song. And so it was one of those where we decided we were gonna do it. And it was at like the 11th hour before the Shockwaves Volume 1 submissions needed to be in, and it was like the 11th hour, and Jason finally had time to like get his vocals recorded and sent. So I was up for a couple of hours just getting everything mixed in and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, like the vocal layering and all that stuff, like that comes from years of being before I was making Rise from Your Grave. I was in a couple of power metal bands. I was in some like crust punk bands and stuff like that. But the power metal stuff and a lot of the metal stuff is where the harmonies and the vocal layering and all that stuff, like that's where that all comes from. Because when I was growing up, I was listening to a lot of thrash metal, a lot of power metal. Like, you know, you get all that, you get all those wild vocals, and especially with power metal, you're getting all those layered harmonies and all that other stuff. And that's where all of that stuff comes from for me. Is like that old school like influence.
I mean, it's prevalent. Like, you can definitely, now that you've said it, you can definitely hear it. It's there.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Kind of ties in the next question. What were some of the early influences all around for you personally, as well as like the band as a whole?
Sure. I mean, obviously, I think it goes without saying that if you're a horror punk band, in some way, you're going to be influenced by the Misfits.
They were the OGs.
Right. It's pretty clear. But early, our first album, I think, is a lot more Misfitsy. It's a lot less, not that any of our songs are super complex, but like,
right.
I think the first album is very, very, very simple in terms of its guitar playing and drumming and stuff like that. But as things went on, I started to add more of my other influences. And you can actually, the first track on the first album is called From the Depths. And it's got a lot more thrashy elements because it was the last song that I had essentially written for the album. And it ended up going on at the beginning of the album for whatever reason. But like, that's a lot more of that started to come out as I started making more and more music. And and some of the songs off of the new album you'll hear as well, like the song that's Twilight Zone or In Love with Evil. Like, I've always really appreciated like
that was a good one too.
Thank you. Like the Beach Boys and you know, like doo-wop music and stuff like that. There's a lot of like those sort of outside of like the heavy music genre influences that I tried to include. Just stuff that I thought was super interesting and like could be something that could add to a horror punk song in a way that would, you know, I'm not saying that I'm like changing the landscape of how it sounds, but like something that you wouldn't expect to hear, but something different. And certainly something a lot more like with the Twilight Zone, that song itself is certainly very, very melodic in that way. But yeah, like thrash metal is a big thing for me. I grew up listening to Anthrax and Testament. Obviously, I think, and I could be wrong, but I feel like at least in my circle of friends growing up, like everybody started with Metallica, and you work your way through Metallica, and then you realize, okay, they're not the be all end all. So now we move on to the next thing. And so,
you know,
like
Metallica for me, like what they actually opened the door for a lot of bands. Like,
oh yeah,
and specifically when Garage Inc. Because I was 11 when that album dropped, the cover album they did.
Okay.
With when they rehashed Garage Days and all that shit.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how I found Motor. That's how I found the Misfits. You know what I mean? And I didn't necessarily find them because I had heard them before, but I just never realized it.
Mm.
And it was like, oh, okay, but yeah, Metallica. Like, who? If people say they never listened to Metallica when they were a kid, they're fucking lying to you. You know what I mean? Like,
absolutely.
You're full of shit. Everybody has heard at least up to the Black Album.
For sure. Yeah.
Yes.
I would absolutely agree with that. Like, if you've listened to heavy music in any way, shape, or form, you've listened to Metallica at one point or another.
Yeah.
At least within the last 30 some odd years.
Oh, for sure. For sure. Yeah. But yeah, like there's so many of those, like I don't know. I don't know how to describe, like, I don't want to sound like a dick when I say it, but like, there's so many of those like heavy music starter bands, like Metallica or Slayer, or in the, you know, the horror punk case, the Misfits and stuff like that. Like, so many bands that like I feel like everybody has in common, and then it's like you kind of build your taste from there. So you find out, you know, you listen to Metallica and you find the things that you like about Metallica, and then you find, okay, so I like the really fast guitar playing of Metallica, but I don't care about vocals that much. Okay, I'm going to listen to Megadeth. Like, oh, I like the really fast guitar playing, but it doesn't have to be accurate. Okay, I like Slayer, you know? So you kind of like, you start somewhere and you kind of branch out as you go on.
So say with Metallica, it could also be the whole, I really, really like the structure of the song, but I don't know why it's got to consist of 8 songs in 12 minutes.
Right.
Like, like it's one song that could have been literally 8 different songs, and it's fucking
for sure
long. It's absolutely unnecessary. Now, granted, at the time though, like James was saying, it's not something I like. You were saying that, so yours was Garage Days, right? That was the.
That opened the door to a lot.
That was the one. That was what you first recognized as like, oh, this is Metallica. This is what they are.
Well, no. For me, like, the first Metallica record that I knew was Metallica was the Black Album, because my first exposure to them was Enter Sandman.
See, ours was Ride the Lightning. That was
but I'm a lot younger than you.
Well, no, I get that, but I'm saying first off, I was in elementary school when Ride the Lightning came out, though. So it's not like it was something I had the ability to go and get, but it was something that all the kids in my neighborhood were listening to, right? Because it was, especially in Georgia, at a place that was technically not even considered a suburban Atlanta at that point. It was just part of Georgia. It come by a lot of music very easily. Like, it wasn't that you weren't going to find anything new. You could hear Metallica because on Headbangers Ball they might show something from fucking Injustice for All. Like, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like, you might hear something like that. But the whole thing of this making it to, I think I was in like 3rd or 4th grade when that album popped up, and like Ride the Lightning. I remember the cover. I remember fucking hearing it, and I remember thinking, wow, that is a really cool cover. How did it get here? And it was obviously another older brother, and he took the fucking cassette into school, and we got a Walkman and we listened to it. Either way, point of the matter is, my introduction to metal in general, outside of like Deep Purple, which I don't even know how much you can really count that. I would say it's there, you know, but that real metal, it was Ride the Lightning. And the idea that, by the way, anybody would ever say that they were not a Metallica person at some point in their life,
fucking liars.
The genre that you enjoy, if you like punk rock, if you like metal, if you like rock and roll, you're a fucking liar if you say that your fucking tastes were too sophisticated to enjoy fucking Metallica. Fuck you, you're a liar.
But Jason, now I kind of like, my brain processed what you were asking me. Like, my Uncle Chuck is
sorry.
Like, I've mentioned my Uncle Chuck on this show a lot, but he's the blame for me liking it. He introduced me to Kiss when I was 4. Same with Metallica. You know, he showed me the Enter Sandman video, and I was just, wow. So yeah, it's all his fault. Love you, Uncle Chuck.
What was it, Ricky Rockman? The fucking Headbangers Ball shit.
Ricky Rockman, yeah.
I fucking blame him for a lot of shit.
That's completely fair.
I blame him for the reason I like snares to sound the way I do, because of Helmet. Like, I've never heard Helmet, and fucking Helmet pops up, and I'm like, holy shit, nice. What is that one drum? Oh, that's a snare.
See, that's like, I love very specific references like that. Like, you find a thing that's the exact thing you're looking for, and you remember exactly the moment you heard it for the first time. Like that is the most delicious shit ever. Like there's something about that. Like I remember the day that I heard the ending solo of Master of Puppets for the first time. Like, and it was one of those where I was like, oh, because it was my first introduction, because my original introduction to Metallica was the Black Album, right? So like the solos they're okay, but it's nothing like any of that stuff. And so a friend of mine had introduced me to it, and I ended up, as a matter of fact, he's the guy that's in the guitar player in Boogeyman, introduced me to Metallica. And so he's like, okay, you listen to this, now listen to Master of Puppets. And the first time I heard that fast solo, I was like, shit, I like fast guitars. I like fast guitars, and it's never gonna stop being this way.
Right.
There is that moment. Yeah. That's a real thing that happens. I mean, shit, that was even we've talked about on the, like, for instance, you
I like punk rock.
Yeah, exactly. Like your first introduction.
Exactly what I like punk rock. Like, it's the fast, like, aggressive guitar play.
Yeah.
That was
Johnny Ramone fucking.
That was literally fucking. I want to say it was bad. All right, so it was Bad Religion. How could hell be any worse?
Great album.
To find its way into my album collection through my older sister's boyfriend, who was a hippie. By the way, a hippie kid. Right? It really would. Really, I call him a hippie kid. And he still is. Like, I mean, I'm still friends with him to this day. Yeah, like dreadlocks, fucking corduroy pants, and fucking big fan of the whole fucking 9 yards. Legitimately, like, he is somewhere guaranteed he's got a hacky sack on him and he's willing to play. You know what I mean? But he was also a skater, and he's a really good skater, right? And this is, I mean, during the, let's say, through the early 80s, that's what he was doing. Like, so he had a bunch of friends listen to punk rock. So I ended up with a Bad Religion album, a Subhumans album, an Operation Ivy album. Like, I ended up with all these because he didn't fucking want him. He's like, I don't listen to this, but you might like him. Gave him to my sister, who gave him to me. First time I ever heard Bad Religion. That was exactly it. I was like, this is fast. Oh, it's very angry. Oh, I like it. This is good. And then I heard Subhumans. I was like, this is very intelligent and British. And it just turned into this whole fucking downward spiral, for lack of a better way to put it, where here I am now.
Right. Yeah, it's so funny to think of those moments as they happen. Like, you're like, it's just like a new thing just like unlocks in your brain, and you're like, fuck, now I have to keep I gotta keep buying records. Like, I can't stop now. There's other people out there playing fast guitars that I want to listen to.
There's a stack of fucking vinyls right in fucking front of me right now that proves your point. Vinyl and cassettes galore over here. Like,
nice.
I mean, it's not like the biggest collection you've ever seen, but it's very disorganized at the moment. It's driving me insane. I just got to get more boxes, but it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. Here I am. I'm gonna bring it back around real quick. When did Rise from Your Grave come together, and when did that idea come about?
So, probably 2013, 2014. I had tried with a friend of mine, like two people that I knew, to try to get kind of a 3-piece going, and it was more of a just kind of like jam. Like, I'd come up with a couple of riffs and we kind of jam around and try it out. And we did that for a little bit, and it wasn't there yet. You know what I mean? I didn't have the songwriting ability yet. I just didn't really know where I wanted to go, and I didn't know what I wanted to do. I was just kind of like, here's a riff that kind of sounds like a punk riff. Like, let's just try it. And so I kind of did that for a little while, maybe 6 months or so, and it didn't really pan out, and I wasn't really, it sounds stupid, and it sounds like, oh, you know, so artsy or whatever, but like, I just wasn't like creatively stimulated by it. Like, it wasn't really doing anything for me.
Oh no, that's a real thing.
Yeah,
that's a real thing. That doesn't sound artsy. That's a very real thing. I'm like, if you're not interested in what you're doing, who the fuck else would be?
Right. But yeah, I just wasn't getting out of it what I wanted to. And so I took a little time off and really sat down and decided like, okay, this, and at the time it was just like, I want to make 10 songs and I want to hear what they sound like. And then after that, if I want to do more, great, I'll do more. And if not, oh, well, no big deal. I made 10 songs. I made some music, which I hadn't done in a very long time. And I was like, yeah, fuck it. Let's just do it. And so probably 2016 or so, I had started writing kind of the first song. Very early 2016, started writing the first song, which ended up being 13 off of our first album, which is like a song about Jason Voorhees. And it's just it's like 3 riffs and like that's it. But like that was when I put the song together and, you know, got the vocals in and all that stuff. And like I had figured out a sound that I wanted to go for. And like that was so hard early on to decide like, this is what I want it to sound like. I want it to be Misfits-esque, but I don't want it to be the Misfits, because anybody can do that. You know, you can listen to a band and you can figure out how to emulate them, right?
Oh, yeah.
But in order to take something and make it your own, you really have to decide what you're going to do. And so once I had finished that song, I kind of had it. I had like the general scope of what I wanted to do. You know, I'm introducing a lot heavier riffs, things like that. And so that was the direction forward from there on out. And then we released our first album in like 2017. So
it was 2017. How many, when you, okay, so in 20, did you say it was 2013 that you just kind of originally?
Yeah.
So when that started, that was you writing. When did you start accruing band members? Like,
so that actually didn't happen until very recently. This was just a studio band like thing for me to make music and enjoy for a very, very long time. And it was because that's at the time, that's all I really had time to do.
You just blowing off steam.
Yeah, absolutely. I
hell of an outlet.
Absolutely. Yeah, like you can get some real good stuff out when you're writing that kind of stuff.
You absolutely can.
But I work for a sound company during the day, and so like we do a lot of installations and stuff like that. But several weeks throughout the year, we ran sound for musicals, and you know, bands and stuff like that. So like consistently throughout the year, there was probably 15 weeks where like I would work during the day and then I would go to a job to run sound at night all week and then all weekend. So until the last 2 years, I basically didn't have like an evening life that existed for any length of time. You know, there was certainly a couple weeks here and there, but there was never enough time to kind of make any of that happen. And the idea of wanting to do a live band was certainly something that I had always wanted to do. But I just couldn't get the time to make it happen. And within the last several years, we kind of stopped doing the live sound stuff because we had so much other stuff coming in that we didn't have to worry about that aspect of the business anymore. So then it became, okay, well, now my evenings are free. Now right. I can spend, not only can I then make a live band and get guys together to do that, but I can also spend more time writing songs, which was one of the biggest things about the new album that I was so happy with, is that, you know, when I would work on a, you know, at any, I always call them like sessions. Like, I don't know. It's just like from this period of time to this period of time is when I wrote the music for whatever album or EP or whatever it is I'm working on.
That makes sense.
And at that length of time, what you are making is different from the next time or the previous time. There are ideas that I've had this time around that I would have never had on the previous album and stuff like that. So one of the things that would happen, especially because my time was so limited, is that while I was writing songs, what would happen is I would make a concession, right? I would sacrifice a part of the song just to kind of get the parts that I really enjoyed out there as a song. And the thing that happened with the new album is because I had more time, every single one of these songs is one that I can say from beginning to end, this song is exactly what I wanted it to be. It flows exactly the way I wanted to. It creates the exact mood I wanted to create, or whatever it happens to be. But I genuinely couldn't say that about some of the other ones. And that's, again, because of my limited amount of time, and sort of, I also have ADHD, which is one of those things where it's like, all right, well, I'm done with this. So like, just you go out into the ether now. Like I'm done working on this. Like you just go, and we'll deal with how it sounds maybe later, or maybe we don't. Like, it doesn't matter. I'm done. So that's also part of it as well. But the live
so many
band
unfinished projects.
Oh my God. I just put my phone. I put my phone down somewhere, but there's like a whole, if I scroll, I have like a voice memo app on my phone, you know, on an iPhone. And it's just like a list of like little dumb ideas that it's probably like this long. Like, it's just, and it's like, I'll probably never use half of these, but like they're there if I want them, I guess.
If you guys it's on topic, but off topic at the same time.
Yeah.
If you, it's the only way it works for me, because like I work from home, right? Like I'm a stay-at-home dad, and I also like my job. I get to do it from here.
Sure.
The only way that I can do it is that everything during the day has to follow the same pattern. It has to start at the same time. I have to sit down. Like, is that a thing that applies to all of you guys? Because like legitimately, it's like I'm an illustrator. It's what I do. So I draw, right? And sometimes I can sit there for just 6-7 hours, no problem, just zeroed in on what I'm doing. And then there's other times where I'm like, Jesus Christ, this is a nightmare. How long has it been? It's been like a minute and a half.
Right. Oh yeah.
Right. Yeah. So I find though that is, as long as, like, if I can get my kid to go watch a movie, sometimes she'll fall asleep, and that's great. And when that happens, I'll let her nap, and that's when I can work. But even if not, I've got an hour and a half, and sometimes she'll watch 2 movies. So that's like another hour. So I got like 3 hours I can work. So in order for me to do anything, I have to get all my ducks in a row. It has to be at 2 o'clock when she goes to lay down. She has to watch. I have to come sit in my art room and stare blankly at my fucking desk for at least 10 minutes while smoking a cigar. And then I can sort of get to work. And like I said, I have some of those days I have an hour and a half where it feels like a nightmare, but for that hour and a half I work. So at least I produce something.
Yeah.
Does that sound familiar? I'm only asking because like I've been feeling a little guilty about it.
Sure. No, I think, and I've done a couple of interviews before, and one of the things that I always talk about, because again, like I have ADHD, so like my thing is, and just like you were talking about before, like some days you're just not in it and it's not going to happen, and other days it's like somebody fired a bullet from your brain directly onto
no choice. Nothing else matters. It's that.
Yep. Right. And so like for me, there are days where like I won't be able to come down here and work on something, but I have all these fucking ideas jumbling around up here, and that's what the voice recorder app is good for. It's like, oh shit, I got a thing, and I'm never gonna have time tonight to come down here and like lay it in. So let me just like fucking Scatman Carruthers it into my phone while I'm in the car, and like at least I have something then, and I can kind of remember what I did.
I'd like to point out, boxing is a perfectly authentic way to go about things. That's acceptable.
Yeah.
It worked work for anybody else.
Yeah. And one of the most important things about being creative, right, is that like, especially if you want to get better at it, when you're like, and it seems like everybody here has a creative edge to them. So I think you guys can appreciate this, is that sometimes the I'm trying to think of the right word, the muse strikes, and you have the thing, you have the motivation, you have the idea, you have the thing, and then you can go and you can make it. And other times you sit there with your thumb in your ass going, I suck at this. what the fuck am I doing?
Yeah, I could.
Yes,
I could push out 2 articles a day, or I could just like sit there and stare at the screen for 5 hours. It all depends.
Exactly. But the important thing is that when you're sitting there going, fuck, I suck at this, you're still trying to make something happen.
Yep.
And creativity is also work. And some people don't understand that. They think it's just like, oh, this thing comes to you and then you do it, which happens sometimes. But other times I don't have a new idea that I want to work on. And so I go downstairs, I come down here and I grab my guitar and I just start fucking noodling until if I come up with something great. If nothing else, I got an hour's worth of guitar practice that night.
It's a fucking wonderful feeling though when it does happen.
It is. And that's the thing.
Starts running.
It's awesome. And especially when you're in one of those moods where you're just not, you don't have the spark that day. And you finally come up with something that you're like, this, I'm happy with this. Let's do this. Yeah. This is what I want to do now. And so, like, especially for other people watching, because I feel like just from our conversation so far, I feel like you guys really understand this. But for people watching at home, like, creativity isn't just when it happens. It's the work you put into it when you don't have the muse. Is what really makes when you do a really good thing, that's what makes it good. It's not that it just magically appeared to somebody. It's that they worked their ass off when it didn't magically appear.
Yeah.
That's when you get the best results.
Absolutely.
Oh,
absolutely.
by the way, none of that really had anything specifically to do with Rise from Grant. But
sorry, I'm real
vivid.
ranty.
No, so am I.
Hey, you guys get along perfectly fine.
No complaints.
Yeah, don't worry. He hasn't gotten started.
Yeah, no, that was nothing. Just wait until we come back.
It's hilarious. I was talking to like build up to another question, and I forgot the question halfway through it because I felt so good about finding out I'm not the only one.
But why don't we go ahead and cut to a quick break? We'll come back and do our little second half.
Good.
Finally, great microwave popcorn.
Power Pop.
Presto Power Pop Microwave Melted Popper. Pops virtually every kernel.
Power Pop.
Pop with oil, pops without oil. Nothing pops like Power Pop.
And outside my name to that.
Power Pop.
From Presto.
I heard him yelling in the castle.
Fix me.
His name's Big Frank.
Fix me.
I said, I'm going to fix you. I'm talking monster, Big Frank.
I'll fix you, Big Frank. Monster Ball is fixed.
Good.
How do you feel now, Frank?
I'm alive.
It's always fun to fix him. I'm talking monster, Big Frank.
Thank you.
Big Frank talks and his eyes light up. Batteries not included. Fix me.
All right, and we're back from our little commercial. Hope you enjoyed that word from our sponsors. I'm going to go ahead and say Gak.
Oh, nice.
Probably.
Hint, Craig.
Maybe a Ghostbusters thing?
Find a Gak commercial. Or Ghostbusters.
Hey, if you start naming stuff, I want to see a Madball commercial.
Yeah,
I put them on a bunch. Yeah.
If you need some vintage video game commercials, I used to do a YouTube channel with some friends, and we would do a similar thing where we'd have like a commercial break and we'd play old commercials. And I just have shitloads of like N64 era like video game commercials.
Oh, hell.
If you ever need some, I got you.
But before we jump back into our conversation, I want to throw a couple of little celebrity shout-outs. Happy birthday to Brian Wilson of the Beach Boys. Creepy old fuck.
And the reason why this sound isn't good.
Charles Manson's biggest inspiration.
Yeah, a lot of shit went wrong there. Fuck you, Brian. Where were you, buddy? You could have fixed all that. All you had to do was be like, yeah.
All you had to do was sign into a label.
This mediocre bullshit song is worth an album. That's all you had to do. Yeah, whatever.
Have you seen Brian? Have you heard the shit that's on the radio today?
No, actually, you know what's the fucked up part? Is I'm gonna fit in. Nobody would have noticed anything. They'd be like, that guy is really
exactly.
short.
You know, nobody would have noticed a fucking thing. There would just been another album in the 60s.
That Beach Boy is really squirrely.
Everybody.
The man was busy filling a sandbox and putting a piano in it. Leave him alone.
No, but say what we will about Brian Wilson. Happy birthday to an inspiration for many musically, for sure. Like I grew up listening to his voice, so I'm right there with you. And in the world of horror, happy birthday, Robert Rodriguez, director, writer, producer, that guy. Del Rey Network, which is no longer around. From Dusk Till Dawn is one of my favorite movies, so I'm
good
cool.
one.
Great film. And a special farewell. The late great Donald Sutherland. We all loved him. Animal House, fucking Beer Fest, Hunger Games. You name it, the man's been. He's also Kiefer Sutherland. Kiefer Sutherland's dad. So our thoughts.
Without Donald Sutherland, there would be no
Lost Boys.
Yeah, no. Well, yeah, that Lost Boys actually, because that's where you would go immediately with the glitter blood. Damn it, James. Damn it.
Twilight
I was going to say
But
Stand By Me.
Yeah.
Stand By Me as well.
Yeah.
That's cool. You go with the fucking glam rock vampires.
Look, all right, at least they didn't sparkle.
They did, though. Their fucking blood had glitter in it.
Yeah,
The
their
one
blood
dude
had
when he
glitter.
landed in the fucking water.
But
and
they still,
exploded,
but they did not sparkle in the sunlight.
They didn't know they sparkled on the inside. It was worse. They wouldn't even own it.
So fucking what? At least they were real vampires.
God damn it! If you're gonna
Well,
sparkle,
you know what, I'll
at least
give you
fucking
this.
commit.
At least their faces changed. I'll give you that. At least their faces.
The faces changed. They fucking burnt up in the sun.
They did. They
They-
100% did. They'd had to be a
The
stake.
fucking holy water thing. They're real vampires.
I will give you that. And I
The
will give you,
sparkly blood aside.
but it was sparkly.
Yeah, what's sparkly?
You know what? I'm willing to get past the sparkly blood because at least they kept true to the vampire mythos.
I will give you. Dude,
Not that fucking Twilight bullshit.
If I sat
I'll
here
give
and
it
tried
to the
pretend
Frog
I
Brothers.
had
That's
nothing
about
about
it.
Lost Boys, I liked the Lost Boys. I enjoyed the movie. I've seen it
I
hundreds.
love the Lost Boys.
Fucking great
But
movie.
it
I
is,
just
people
think
get
that when
so
people,
charged up when, like I'm saying, like it's the Twilight of the '80s. Get so pissed off.
that's the whole thing.
I just let you say that shit.
No, it was Craig posted this memes about like this is still Twilight for the '80s, and it's like
I know. Every time he posts it, I'm like, oh, here we go.
Oh no, it's not just you though. Like you lead the charge, but like people that never comment, like 30 people.
Oh, we get a lot.
This is
We
so
get a lot of
untrue. No, it is true, man. They have glitter blood. And when you mention the glitter blood, they get really angry.
Luckily, it's just a movie, so like it'll
I mean,
probably
yeah.
be fine.
You would think, right? You would think that would be enough for people to be chill, but they're not. If
Yeah.
you compare any vampire movie to Twilight,
Ugh,
any
yeah.
horror fan is immediately like, "Fuck you, no."
Yeah.
Which is
I mean, I guess now that I'm letting it sink in, I feel like I'm understanding it more. But
it's the comparison to Twilight that fucks it up, because
Yeah.
Twilight was just horrible.
God. Jeez.
I like the fact that Robert Pattinson hated it too. That's
Yeah,
what makes
he
me
did.
happy. Like when
He
you
fucking despised the.
But what's funny, like I actually, so my wife, she read the Twilight novels, and she was like, "Oh yeah, they weren't even good novels, but I still like I had to finish them. They were like I got sucked in." And she watched the movie. She was like, go ahead.
My ex-wife was obsessed with the novels and actually enjoyed it.
Yeah, because it's about if you read that shit though, like if you read that as an objective, just adult going in and you read that shit, it's like this is fucking terrible.
She won't. She's never once said that though.
But that's because it would
No.
hurt to admit that she has wasted that much time and vitriol on fucking terrible writing and terrible movies.
Well, let's just say I'm glad I'm not in this situation.
When it comes down to the movies, my wife and I watched them. I went back and watched them.
Yeah,
Like I fucking started them. I had to finish them, right?
Did you though?
No, I had to see what happened. But the thing is about it is knowing that Robert Pattinson hated it and watching it and knowing that he fucking hated it, you could see it. It is so obvious in every one of his fucking takes how truly miserable he was being there. Like, it's done. Like, emo Batman aside, my man did not want to play that ass at all. You know?
I like that.
No, he did great, but it was emo Batman.
It was that was weird, but like I enjoyed the sports.
No, that's right. No, they did a good job. I didn't like what they did with the. You know what? We're getting way the fuck off topic.
It didn't need to be 3 hours long.
I thought I was the problem before.
No, this is.
Told you.
Are you talking about Riddler?
Disregarding the Riddler.
Oh yeah. Oh, Nano, poor bastard.
He did great. God damn it, James. He did a good job.
This is the most pro ADHD podcast I've ever been on, and I fucking love it. Thank you so much. This experience has been top notch for me, and I truly mean that. No sarcasm whatsoever. I fucking love it. Thank you so much.
It's just everyone that does what happens.
I wish we could say you were the first one to tell us that. Because we're not.
Shit.
That's why we
try and get away from Paul Dano, because God bless him, he's a great actor. He did a good job. It was just a great character. I got it out.
It was poorly written.
Damn it. All right, here's the thing. What I was originally going to ask it was in relation to the fact that you started in 2013. So you were running by yourself. You were programming your own drums. You were doing guitars, bass lines, and everything, basically mixing on your own.
Mm-hmm.
You found people to come in and play.
Yeah.
And that's where you're at now. You have
absolutely
a full band. You have somebody to play live.
Mm-hmm.
How is that going? See, Jesus, why was that so fucking hard?
It's going well.
Jason's sitting back like he's worn out now.
It hurts.
Sometimes you just gotta get the thing out. I understand. No, it's going really well. We just did a show at Dead Summer Fest in Kersey, PA on the 15th of June. So that was our first show ever as Rise from Your Grave.
Real recent then.
Yeah, and it's been a lot of fun. We've been rehearsing for 6 months. We started in like January. And kind of had the nice thing about getting some of the songs from the album out as singles or on the compilations and stuff. It was a great way to figure out which of the newer songs that people were gonna like and which ones they weren't so hot on. So that way we could add new songs into the set, so we knew that people would enjoy them and stuff like that. With the older stuff, it's pretty easy to figure that out, but it was nice to be able to kind of get those in there as well. But yeah, the guys that are playing with me, or they are Rise from Your Grave. Brandon DeLanzo is on guitar. Adam Kephart is on bass, and Justin Fantuzzo is on drums. And the four of us, a year or so ago, were actually rehearsing some as a different band for a little bit. And when the opportunity came up to support the album coming out and do a couple of shows, and we've got an album release show coming out on the 27th of July. So we'll be doing that and some other stuff supporting the Creepy Crawlers from Dayton, Ohio, and some other stuff to kind of go along with the album coming out. When all of those opportunities kind of hit at once, we were like, well, seems pretty stupid not to jump on that. And it was the opportunity because as excuse me, as we've done more and more music, it was something where I was like, I want to make this a live band. I want to perform these songs. Because when I was in college and stuff like that, like I was in quite a few actual bands that played out and things like that, and I really enjoyed that. So I definitely wanted to bring that to. I wanted to bring Rise from Your Grave out of the basement down here and out to where people could see us. And obviously it's just been the one show so far, but the response has been really awesome. We're trying. We're all different musicians, and so Adam is more rock focused, and Brandon, our guitar player, he's into like Evergrey and bands like that are sort of moodier metal bands, but he absolutely tears solos apart.
No, you can hear it in his leads. They sound really good, which is back to the going along with their production value, and even the one which, by the way, anybody who comes across this on YouTube, go look for the recorded practice that they have posted. Rise from Your Grave's recorded practice. He plays really well on that. Like, it sounds really good too. Like the sound quality, it does not sound like a practice. It sounds.
Yeah. We so a lot of what we're doing right now is so like everybody in this band is almost 40 years old. Like we're a bunch of older dudes. It's like I don't want to carry, like, I'm the singer, so like all I got to do is show up and like, here's my microphone, guys, let me put it on the stand. But like none of us really want to carry a bunch of gear around, and like at this point in the way that you can do stuff, you don't have to do it anymore. We've got a rack that's just got inputs in it, and it goes straight into damn it, I've forgotten the word. Essentially a DAW, and then we've got plugins for all the guitars and the bass and stuff like that, and the vocals, and then it just comes back out into the sound system, or we mix our own sound, and that's it. It's as simple as that. It's just a couple of cables that we pull straight from our stuff and plug it into whatever house system we're working with, and it's simple. And the easier we can make the setup process. And again, I'm a sound guy, and our bass player is also very into sound production and things like that. So like, we're very much like, as easy as we can make this for ourselves. Like, we know what people are going to want when we get there. So let's just give them the things that they need. Let's make it easier on ourselves. Let's get in there and let's focus on playing the show the best way we can. And
you know what's funny, or at least funny to me? Like, I think it's really fucking cool. You are right. It's a whole new world for playing a live show. It really is. Like, if you can, I don't know, what are they called? It's not a line sync. What the fuck is it called? Like, you're playing through your little fucking MIDI thing into a soundboard does the entire, like, whatever the hell it's called.
Yeah. I think there's guys that like the Line 6 pods or whatever is like a guitar thing. There's some other ones as well. Main Stage is what we use. I knew my brain would get there eventually.
Sure. Oh, thank you. So the only person carrying actual equipment outside of guitars and a bass is your drummer?
Yep.
God bless him.
Yeah, and he's and listen, he's the one dude in the band that's like he's the dude that's gonna take his shirt off because like he's like fucking jacked. So like, you know what? Right. Let's let him carry some stuff. Like,
you're gonna need to get your fucking pump on before you get up there, buddy.
Yeah. But we've all been a part of bands in some way or another over the years. So like, it's a super easy, like, nobody's trying to like step on each other's toes. Like, we all have creative outlets that aren't necessarily Rise from Your Grave. So it's like, nobody's squashing each other's ideas or stepping on anybody's toes. We're all familiar with each other. We all get along really well. So it's all about, coming to practice every week and having fun and playing shows and giving people a fun, exciting performance. And based on the show that we did at Dead Summer Fest, I can promise you that if you come to a Rise from Your Grave show, you'll at least have a little bit of fun.
It's pretty cool, man. I think that's something, the ability to actually just show up with an instrument in hand and not have to drag a fucking 95-pound fucking bass rig, set of stairs into it. This is a true story, by the way. A 95 fucking pound bass rig into a set of stairs that you can't fit through, let alone the fucking bass rig.
Oh, I've been there, man. I've been there.
Yep.
I wasn't even the band. like I had to carry my shit up, but at least my shit was packed so I can carry it up a piece at a time. And then when it got down to my bassist fucking shit, we're like, is there an elevator? There was, by the way, it was fucking broken.
Of course it was.
Of course it was.
If there's a venue with an elevator, it doesn't fucking work.
It's broken.
No, it doesn't work. Not only does it not work, it works so, it is like actually so unfunctional that it makes the stairs less functional. Like, that's how badly this fucking elevator worked. We ended up fucking dragging this dude's bass rig up his fucking stairs, like halfway up, not even halfway up. We were like a quarter of the way up, and I was like, "Is anybody out here? Is anybody out here?" My bassist is looking around, and he's like, "I don't see anybody." I was like, "Awesome." Fucking popped the railing off on the side. Like I hit it as hard as I could, fucking cracked it off the wall. Suddenly everything fit.
Oh wow.
Yeah, no, we got everything up there. We were asked about it on the way out. I was like, it was like that when we got here. And we all
I don't know what you're talking about. There was a railing there? I never even saw one.
But now they know. Now they're gonna see that.
I think what I said is, man, I wish I'd known, it would have helped.
Oh,
like, it was I had no choice. I had no choice. Sean had no choice. We did what we had to do, damn it.
Sometimes you just gotta do the thing whether you should or not.
Now you named your accomplice.
Nobody felt good about it. When we sat at showing at 3 o'clock in the morning later, we were not proud of ourselves.
Oh, holy shit.
We're ready to group. We're good.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we touched about every subject we could.
Yeah.
With the exception of anything you have coming up. You mentioned something about another show.
They got a show on
we've got a show on July 27th. It is the album release party for Tales of Terror. We're playing with it's us, the Creepy Crawlers from Dayton, Ohio, and Children of October from Pittsburgh.
Children of October's
great. Yeah,
they're rad as fuck.
We've had both of them, but both of those bands on the show.
Yeah, nice.
Rise from Your Grave, by the way. I wanted to throw this out here. That is a fucking great band name. I cannot say it without thinking about the genesis. Like, obviously, that's where it came from, and that's how I say it in my head. Like that. It is how
it's where it's from.
Yeah,
that's where I got it from. Rise from your grave.
Yeah, it's great. You know, that's it. That's all you fucking heard. But it was tough. You were like, "Fuck yeah, I'm gonna be a werewolf."
Yeah, when we first started, because when in like 2013, whenever I was playing with those couple of guys, like we didn't really have a name at the time. It was just kind of like the sort of the genesis of starting all of this stuff. But when I first started, actually when we were writing music for the first album, it was very much like we need a name, and like everything I came up with, it sounded too much like a thrash band, right? Because that's how my brain's wired. So I was like, oh, like Toxic something, like that'd be really cool. Like I like that. It just feels kind of scuzzy and whatever. And I just kept coming up with stuff, and it wasn't working. And I literally, and I'm not shitting you, was playing Altered Beast, and I'm sitting there, and the game starts, and I was like, that's fine. And I like put the controller down. I'm like, that's fucking it. It's Rise from Your Grave. That's what it is. That's how we get there. But what, like, I won't pretend like I'm not a person that does this. Like, I'll go on YouTube and like search us to see if like, because there's people that'll like repost certain songs, or like I think there's a guy in the scene, his name's like Crim's Ghost or whatever, Alexander I think his name is, and he'll like take the whole album and like post it up on YouTube or whatever. So I just like to see like where stuff's at or whatever. And every time I have to make sure that I put punk in quotes when I search us, because otherwise it's just like a bunch of Altered Beast videos.
First time I searched you guys, that's what I have, and I actually listened to like 3 or 4 of them because it made me happy.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, it fucking rules, dude. It absolutely rules. That's and nobody has brought that up in forever. I did an interview when we did our second album, and the guy was like, "Oh, like was there any correlation to Altered Beast whatsoever?" And I was like, "Actually, yes, that's exactly where it came from." So I haven't had an opportunity to talk about this in forever.
That was, dude. If you guys honestly, if y'all do another album and you do not put like instead of the wizard, maybe a hobo.
Yeah.
Sad hobo.
Yeah.
Fused hobo, half of a hobo with a 40, something on the cover, being like "Rise from your grave," like, and it spelled WISSSSE or SS.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's definitely spelled incorrectly. There's no doubt.
Oh yeah, dude. If you try to spell the Genesis, like the phonetic spelling of "Rise from your grave" from the Genesis game, Altered Beast, I think you'd have a stroke. Like,
yeah, there's no doubt about that.
It'd go really bad. You'd be using fucking foreign symbols. There'd be umlauts and shit. Maybe that weird little AE combo thing.
Yeah.
Or that A with the circle over top of it.
That's the one. No, that'd be the main one. Actually, either that there would be a U randomly with the umlaut for no reason at all. But somebody somewhere would know how to pronounce it. You would actually release the album, and there'd be some college graduate who's like, "I can read this."
But like when you write it out, now all of a sudden there's like a demon attached to your house for some reason.
Also,
like,
that
and then you'll never get it out.
Like they wouldn't know why they were there. They'd be like, "I don't know why I'm here."
Right? How did I get here?
This feels like something that shouldn't have happened. Was this intentional? I don't know. That's
beats the fuck out of me.
That's a fucking ampersand, but the original version.
Oh, fuck. Oh,
weird.
But we do like just like the video game stuff in general. Like a lot of our songs, like, so obviously the name comes from Altered Beast, but like I don't know if you can kind of see them back there, but like that's my entire, like, all of the controllers for all of the consoles that are in my home.
I thought you had cords for recording. Those are consoles controllers.
Yeah, so that they're all like, it's like there's the Genesis controllers at the bottom there, and like there's some Xbox 360 controllers. Like I think these are like Wiimotes and stuff. Like I have I have a huge game collection. Yeah,
I did it just for the emulator.
Yeah, oh yeah, that's the way you got to go. But I've got a huge PS2 like horror collection. Like I've been into horror as a thing for a very long time, and like a lot of our songs, you know, because we all like kind of do the Misfits thing, right? Where it's like I pick a spooky thing that I want the song to be about, right? So we've got a song about like Event Horizon and stuff like that. But like I have a lot of songs about like horror video games. So like Alan Wake, which is a super awesome video game. The song Where Darkness Sleeps off of Tales of Terror is about Alan Wake. Or like I have like 3 or 4 songs about Silent Hill. I'm trying to think of some other ones. We've got tons of them.
You'd have to.
You know what? Surprisingly, I never made it. Like I love Resident Evil. I'm a big Resident Evil 3 dude, and I don't.
If for no other reason, then don't go through that door.
Yeah,
just for that line. Like sound clip that shit. Drop the middle of a fast song. Like if you just fucking play the first half into a fucking pre-chorus, just drop that and then fucking bring a chorus.
There you go. Yeah.
There you go.
There's like production. That would only play that part, but it would be enough. You know what I mean?
That would actually be really badass.
Don't go through that door.
And so we've done. We did one. I did a song on Bloodborne, like the FromSoft game, you know, like the Dark Souls games or whatever, and like included some clips and stuff like that in there. So like a lot of stuff that I do is it's almost more video games and like books than it is like movies and stuff like that. There's obviously a lot of movie stuff in there, but it's certainly become more of a I'm interested in this book, I'm interested in this video game, and so now I want to.
Right, it's not just like a lot of the times at a lot of cons, and this doesn't really apply to anybody here. Like most of us are. It's not just horror. There's all kinds of shit that we're into. But as far as the horror stuff goes, generally a lot of us we're into the music.
Mm-hmm.
We're into the comic books. We're into the books. We're into the like all of it, the movies, everything.
Yeah.
Yes.
So like, there is. I don't want to call it saturation. Saturation's not the right way to put it, but it's definitely the expected way to go for a band. It's always movies. It's always like, you know what I mean? Like, I guarantee you there are horror punk bands out there that have written songs about Hush Hush Sweet Charlotte that think they're the only one.
Right.
And they're not. And it's not bad. It's
Right.
not. None of them are bad. There's no insult intended with that statement. It's just like it's movies. You can only go so fucking far with it. But there's a whole plethora of fucking media that applies to it. I mean, fuck, Parasite Eve, Part 1 or Part 2, either one of those fucking games would result in an album.
Oh, absolutely.
Literally run with that shit.
Yeah. And like one of the things that I've always tried to do with especially with, like if I write a song about a movie or a book or a game, I focus on a particular part of that story. So we've got a song off of our first album is called Bloody Hands, and it's about Hellraiser, because I love the first two Hellraiser movies. But it's about Frank and Julia's relationship,
right?
And not necessarily about the story of the movie, right? So it's about their kind of, they need each other, but they use each other, and then they turn on each other and things like that. Like that's what that song is about. And I always found that more interesting, because then I can go back to that. I can go back to Hellraiser later, and I can find something else about that movie that I could talk about something else. I could write a different song and talk about another part of that story. So those are the kinds, like, I really like to find the little mini kind of storylines within that stuff, and that's what I really focus on songs, because then I can go back to it later and say, okay, now I can focus on the bigger picture, or I can focus on another small story.
It's a niche thing. It is a niche thing. Like, it really is. The whole the ability to sit, like, there's not, like, most horror fans, I'm sure Craig would attest to this. I know I definitely understand it, but the idea that and I know James gets it too, but like, you watch a horror movie, there are specific moments that stand out. They are solid and important to you. I mean, like, go Terrifier 2, the mashed potato scene. That would be fucking hilarious. Awesome.
You and those mashed potatoes, bro. This man fell out of his fucking chair. We did a group watch.
Yeah, we had to.
This man fell out of his chair.
20 minutes later, we were able to.
He was laughing so fucking hard.
He looked so fucking upset about it. Like, why aren't you enjoying me? So and I understand.
Really gonna sit here and hurt his feelings?
I don't know if that's what Damien, whatever his name is. I don't know if that's what he was trying to convey. Yeah, that's it. I don't know if that's what he was trying to convey, but that's what I got. Like, he's really upset that kid isn't enjoying those mashed potatoes that he took the time to make. That's what I fucking got out of that scene. It's like, I go back and watch it, it's still what I think every time. I laugh my ass off. Poor kid just sitting there like he is mashed potatoes into this fucking stump of a neck. Clown took the time to make these fucking mashed potatoes. Those could have been from scratch, motherfucker. You don't know.
I mean, if that's what you're gonna do, like, he's definitely making them from scratch. You're not gonna go out and buy a box mashed potatoes and then start doing that.
Just fucking, like, he just shot your fucking mom, just blew her head into a fucking garage wall, but he made you mashed potatoes. You are an unappreciated little shit. Eat the mashed potatoes.
Now I'm starting to see why he was so disappointed.
And I could not help it. I was actually laughing. I cried for the first time laughing in my life. Like, I'd always heard it. That's the first time I'd ever actually teared up laughing so hard. That was a funny fucking scene.
That's
great. It's still fucking funny now. I am hoping to God in Terrifier 3 that something even begins to approach it. I don't know if they're going to be able to pull it off.
Dude, I cannot wait for October 11th.
Oh, no, I'm stoked. I'm fucking stoked about that shit.
I cannot wait. Like, it's already been requested off work, all that shit. Like, they're like, this is like 4 or 5 months away. I'm like, I know.
It's important. I'm gonna need the day off.
It's a national holiday.
I'm gonna need the following day to recover. I am hoping that owning, like, so originally when this is again off the fucking subject, god damn it. So when Terrifier 2 hit streaming, they did it off of Screenbox, right?
Yeah.
Screenbox, they had some good movies, but to me they weren't that great. Shudder was much better. Yeah. My hope is that AMC took notice and that they're going to purchase 3 to release. That is like fingers crossed. Like they fucking earned it. They need that kind of support. They deserve it. Which again, I don't know how this happened. But here we are talking about Terrifier.
Hey, why not?
But at least we didn't go too far. Like we could have gone really far.
Yeah, like as far as tangents go, man. Like we started here and we're only here, so like that's good.
But we're only like a little bit off. But like if you could curve it back in.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're getting there because we're reaching our wrap up. So it's okay. But while we're on the Terrifier subject, I just want to throw this out there. It is currently convention season. There are tons of conventions all up and down the coast on both sides of this country. Please go out and get to one. I've never been to one. I'm going to my first one October 23rd to the 25th right here in Charleston, South Carolina. Yep, right there on Craig's wall. You got David Howard Thornton as our clown.
Holy shit,
with Craig. Yep, it's Craigception right now.
Perfect.
But the Terrifier crew is going to be at Spooky Empire in Charleston, South Carolina, where my first convention. So I'm fucking hell excited. Also going to be there. Doug Bradley from Hellraiser. Malik, can't remember his name, but he played Malachi in Children of the Corn and Ruben in The Burbs. Do Malachi, what?
Like has been in so many other things. He really has. He's been in a lot of.
But he was in The Burbs.
Exactly. But he was like
I love The Burbs.
Malachi, dude. He's a fucking scene stealer in Children of the Corn.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Like he is.
Yeah,
like no, compare it against fucking Isaac. Like Isaac, that creepy little 30-year-old guy.
Isaac's going to be there too.
Like that dude literally should have been the main focus, but anytime Malachi was on screen, you're like, oh no, that's the motherfucker right there. It's not the that guy. That guy's a fucking beast.
Yeah, that's like little pale girl in Terrifier 2.
No, exactly. Good for her. Awesome.
Like no shit. Like
for anybody that comes across this, if you've never been to a convention and you intend to go, that whole rule about not wearing the shirt of the band you're going to see does not apply at a convention. Where the fuck?
It doesn't apply at a convention.
Somebody else follows that rule.
Everybody's
God.
My life,
it's important. That is an important rule.
It is.
The greatest service.
I wear a uniform at work, not at concerts.
No, but it doesn't. That's the thing, though. It does not apply in a convention. Like if you're going to a convention,
it does not apply at a convention. Wear the shirt.
Wear that shirt. Dress up like that fucking character. Hold a sign that says "I love you. You changed my life." It make them happy. Make your experience better.
Yeah.
But seriously, though, it still applies to bands. So don't
don't do that shit.
Yeah. But,
you go to a Guar show, don't wear a fucking Guar shirt.
No,
just don't.
Unless you're going
to wear a white. Just wear a white shirt.
I will give you the caveat that I went and saw Municipal Waste open up for Guar, and I made a shirt. I took a white shirt and I took like duct tape across it, and I wrote "waste" across it, so that way when Guar went on, I had a shirt that said "waste" across it. It was awesome.
That's badass.
It was a smart choice.
If you can make a shirt during the show, that's completely forgivable.
That's what I'm saying.
So
the only time I've ever worn the band shirt while I was at the show.
Same people that comes across this, get an X-Acto knife, grab some fucking duct tape, go to a Guar show.
Yeah.
Whatever the fucking band is that you're excited about, fucking carve that.
Craft time before the show.
Yeah, it's going to
take
time.
It here first.
You're going to be happy about the outcome.
Oh, for sure.
All right, so you got a show coming up on the 27th.
Correct. Yeah, that's
and where's that?
That is that's at the Green Beacon Gallery in Greensburg, PA. I think the show starts at 7. And again, that's the Creepy Crawlers, Children of October, and then we'll be playing last for the Tales of Terror CD release party.
That's fantastic.
Tales of Terror CD release party, Greenburg, Pennsylvania.
Yep.
All right. So if you're in the area, go check out Rise of Your Grave. Please turn out for these guys. They're busting their ass to bring you some killer tunes.
Yeah, please come out. I promise you'll have a good time because we don't take ourselves all that seriously. So we have,
and that's what punk rock's all about.
Hell yeah, man!
I think so, right?
Hey, I'm about to find out because there's a couple of shows this weekend, but they're going to be insane. just in the little bar that I work in. So like, I'm super excited for you guys.
Thank you.
See your release party. Those are always fun shows anyway. So
yeah, it's gonna be a blast. I'm looking forward to it.
But best of luck with the future, man. You're welcome to come back here anytime you want to.
Hey, thanks, dude.
We had a blast.
Like I said, man, it was really fun. Like I love an environment where ranting is totally okay.
This is that environment.
It happens here.
This is what we do.
That's exactly what we do. Just open the floor to Jason and it's bound to happen.
Yeah, it's not intentional. Again, it's not intentional. It's not on purpose.
But it's
doesn't help.
It's not intentional.
But Tom, thanks again for coming on, man. We appreciate you.
Thank you guys very much.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's been
Everybody go see Rise from Your Grave. Check out their album, Tales of Terror. It's on Spotify right now. Jason, Craig, this was fun, boys.
They're squirmy and wormy and purple and green, the grossest little creatures that you've ever seen.
Creepy crawlers.
Build a monster mold with the colored plastic goop and make a creepy crawler from a yucky monster soup. They're yucky, squirmy, wormy, very scary, sometimes hairy, squiggly, wiggly, creepy crawling.
Creepy crawlers.
Gross out your sister, embarrass your dad. You can be a little creep without being bad.
Creepy Crawlers Workshop with Plastic Goof.
Squeeze It fruit drink. So much fun, kids can't wait to get their hands on it. You don't just drink a Squeeze It, you squeeze it. Squeeze it in fruity flavors like chocolate cherry and mean green puncher. Go ahead. Squeeze the fun out of it. Something really cool is happening. Frozen Squeeze It makers in your favorite Squeeze It characters. Squeeze It Freeze It. One in marked 6-packs.